What is up, down, and sideways, you beautiful people? We're back inside on League Unlock. Eric and Mark here with you guys. Day 3 of play-in action. Don't have 8 games on tap because we've talked about the scheduling and everything. But we do have, it's the big day, the finals, everybody. We got a couple teams advancing to the main stage, and then we got the bracket stage filled out today.
Oh boy, this is why we got the 4 games, man. You got 8 games, busy days before that. 4 games today because we got to have some time set aside to say goodbye to some teams at the World Championship and as well get set up and roared up and ready for those play-ins. The rest of the playoff for the play-ins is going to go.
And of course, always the potential for tiebreakers on the final day of action. But we're going to go in order of the games that played out on the day. We start things off with LNG versus Infinity Esports, which is your classic 3-0 versus 0-3 squad. And believe it or not, that is exactly what this game looked like because it's a rare game where you get a dancing Rift Herald at the end of the game. LNG, all business en route to their 4-0.
Yeah, this is an LPL team that has their sights squarely set on the group stage. They're already looking at the teams that they're going to be slotting in within Group D. They said, nuh-uh, I ain't worried about plans. They take care of business. They roll on through. As you said, clean-cut performances coming across from the LNG crew.
Yeah, pre-15 minutes, pre-10 minutes even. You just kind of, the observers jump from lane to lane to lane, and it's just kind of LNG dumpstering without jungle attention in a lot of these lanes. They just kind of snowballed their way to an eventual 15k gold lead at 23 minutes, 19-3 in total kills, and it was Ole picking up yet another World's MVP game, 8-0-1 on the Wukong. And let's just highlight this dude in the 4 games for them because he had a standout performance in pretty much every single match on 4 different champions: Wukong, Jace, Fiora, and of course the Jax.
And this is not exactly a surprise for people that have been watching the LPL, following along LNG's rise this year and what they've been doing well. Yes, a lot of that has been on Tarzan being the star in the jungle, Icon's resurgence and what he's been able to do in the mid lane. But all of that doesn't matter unless you're getting some consistent level of contributions from someone like Ale in the top lane, given what the landscape is in the top lane in the LPL and how hotly contested it can be. For him to come through that's the season and be where he was heading towards this Worlds, and then to explode so far during this play-ins and be a major contributor for this LNG team bodes really well for them heading towards the group stage.
And with that win for them, obviously we know where they're going to be put because there's only one group that doesn't have an LPL squad in Group D. We'll get to that later, but it's the end of the run for Infinity Esports, combined 1-9 if you're looking back to what they did at MSI this year. Obviously looking for a little bit more competitiveness out of the Latin American squad.
Right, and this is one of those ones that will feel disappointing at the end of the day, not just because of obviously the end result, but looking at the scoreline, 1-9 across the 2 events, and looking how you actually played and performed in those games, you would have said that we could have clawed out, we could have gotten at least another 2, if not 3 wins, and then you're talking about a very, very different record and results at the international showings.
And it's, anytime you take an international event, you're still going to take that knowledge back to your region, and hopefully there is some growth that comes out of not just Infinity, but the LLA as a whole when you're talking about them as a region. Peace versus Red was the second matchup on the docket, and this is absolutely, we already knew before this with Infinity being eliminated, this is your 3-4 matchup. This is going to be a best of 5. Basically meaningless because it's not going to alter who they're matching up. So really, it's just kind of testing the waters of your opponent to be.
Hey, feeling each other out, seeing what the competition is going to be like, and see if you can pick up on any traits, any habits, things of that nature in just this one quick match. That would be what you would be looking at because, as you said, this is a guaranteed matchup for us in the play-in playoffs. Hey, no need to look too far ahead before you're going to get this one for all the marbles.
And you, Tryndamere watch, everyone on alert. We got Tali with the Tryndamere bid in this one. It had some impact for sure. We know it's all about shoving the lane, just racking up ridiculous amounts of CS. The 7-minute invade gave 2 kills to Peace, and then they had pretty much full control for the majority of the game. There's this one play around Baron where Red is down 6k and managed to get a Baron, but then they end up getting aced anyways. So,
yeah. And the way I look at Red and their time at this event so far, really, they're one of the teams that I think of, kind of the surprise of them being the team to represent Brazil and everything else, and what type of lessons that they can learn and take back from this event. This type of series and these type of situations of pressure that you're going to be in right now, this is where you want to be getting those lessons and experience.
And especially against the team that, again, you're going to be playing in that best of 5. So 2-2 finish for Red, 2-2 for Peace, 1-3 finish for the Red Cannon boys. DFM versus Beyond. This was a scenario where if Beyond won this, I believe it would be a 3-way tie for second between them, Galatasaray, and Beyond, of course. But DFM wasn't having any of that. They said, okay, yeah, Beyond, you're the pool 1 team. You know what? We don't really care, especially when, again, we saw this yesterday, Evie on the Urgot mark. That's nightmare fuel.
I don't know what is going on with Beyond Gaming, that they could see what happened yesterday and say either that we have an answer for the Urgot, because spoiler alert, you did not, or B, that you got to ban it away. That is what you had to realize, I think, against Evie right now. And I understand that this is not an immediate 100% type of ban situation, but you had to be more prepared for it than you were today. And absolutely, throughout the game plan, throughout the gameplay, you saw that there was absolutely no plan to deal with Evie as him on the Urgot.
This game was over real quick. We've seen nice TP ganks out of Evie to help his teammates out, but 2,000 gold lead at 7 minutes already is a pretty sizable lead. Udapon and Gang continue to be, not just of the wildcard regions, one of the best performing bot lanes of the entire play-in stage.
Absolutely taking note of what they've been able to do in lane and out of lane as that duo. That's the big one that I look at. Sometimes, it's easy to keep that synergy when you're in lane with your partner, and then you go roaming around a little bit and you get to a team fight a couple minutes later, and then it's hard to get back on the exact same page with your ADC. Not happening for DFM.
Not happening for them. 3-1 now, guaranteed a top 2 finish. Still vying, potentially, for that top spot, because the last on the schedule game of the day, Cloud9 versus the Unicorns of Love. And Mark, we said it yesterday, there's a very high chance this is the most North American time to lose a game. And if you had the full hope for North America and you were very disappointed after seeing this, I got 2 words for you. First time watching a little bit of NA action on the international stage.
Oh, man. Yeah, you said it right yesterday, and I knew it. I knew that it was going to be the prophecy fulfilled, given the way that the 3 games went for Cloud9, how everyone was feeling, the positives that we had
almost
seen.
No negatives after those 3 games.
All the negatives were on the Unicorns of Love, all the things that we had seen from them. It was the perfect storm. And yes, this one at the very least, if you're an NA fan, you knew that this was going to happen right away. 3 minutes into the game, you see Fudge getting punished on that recall. You know that this is the way it's going to go.
Right after Blabber misses the smite and Ananasik takes it with the Lee Sin Q on his own invade. Yeah, it was just little mistakes like that. Absolutely a sloppy game from Cloud9. And we said Unicorns would have to step up even if Cloud9 wasn't playing that well. They absolutely did. We finally saw the form of the team that we expected to see at this event. But it felt like the confidence and aggressiveness that we had seen in the first 3 games for Cloud9 was gone. This just looked like remove the nameplates any NA team at an international event over the years.
It looked like watching Cloud9 lose to TSM, watching Cloud9 lose to Pentanet. That's exactly the type of performance and effort that we really saw from these Cloud9 players. And that's where I'd question what was going on today, because absolutely, when you talk about you bring in a 3-0, you are looking to clinch that spot for the play-ins, take that next best step forward, not allow any wiggle room. This was anything but that level of performance and attention and care from Cloud9.
And it's the Unicorns, I'll give them credit. They had this nice draft of the Sion Senna bot lane pick that kind of came in. I'm not sure that really threw Cloud9 off at all, but Unicorns absolutely played better. There was some bonehead, I'm going to say bonehead moves by Cloud9, and obviously this this is the scenario where, okay, now we're not playing 4 games on the day. This is where the double tiebreakers did indeed get forced. And when we dive in to those tiebreakers, it was Cloud9 immediately on the sidelines. They gave them a full game to process what just happened in that match to them, whereas the Unicorns right back on the Rift against Beyond Gaming, who are at 1-3, and this is your entire tournament lives on the line. Winner advances to that knockout round, and loser, obviously, their world championship ends. And because of that, we get some spicy picks. Unicorns say, listen, we know Doggo's your featured guy. Let's throw some bans his way, make sure he's put behind. But then he gets to fall on the Draven.
Oh, my lord. Of all the things that happen, everyone's been there before when you don't want to play against some certain bot lane champions, whatever it is. You ask your teammates, they're sacrificing a ban. Oh, they're not banning out Master Yi, whatever. You're banning out the ADCs. And then there it is, the Draven, the one that nobody ever expects when it's not meta, comes on in. And man, you better believe, I don't care if he's meta or not, Draven's doing some damage, and he is absolutely with Doggo at the controls.
Yeah, and obviously he is the focal point, the star of almost every game with Beyond Gaming, but you gotta highlight the unbenched Kench in the top lane for this one. Liang turning around 1v2s, and somehow you see this draft in no way, shape, or form should you look at that and say, you know what? That Tom Kench is going to take a lot of the pressure off that bot side Draven. That should never happen.
No, they absolutely got plus value from the Tom Kench. It delivered everything you could have asked for, and then some from Liang on the top side. What he was able to get done, the pressure that, as you said, was able to be absorbed. I think a lot of it was just looking at, the way U of L was attacking him and questioning, how familiar are you with this reworked Tom Kench? Because I know that, yes, when it first came out, the first week or two, we saw an influx of it throughout the major, the different regions. And then after that, it's disappeared. So certainly a question when you're looking at some of the way that they were fighting it, you're like, do you really know how this champion works?
I mean, especially you've got a Jace on the other end. It should be something that you can really take advantage of, as we've seen Jace do to every melee champion in the world on the top side. But the Tom Kench was fantastic, and Doggo was bordering on 6 items. I think it was around 30 minutes he had already sold his boots.
Yeah, if you want an answer right away for the individual player, if you're not taking Ale as the star from the play-in event, man, I'm voting for this guy. This is absolutely what you're looking at as far as someone being able to carry and to be that one for the team to rely upon for the damage. Doggo's your man.
And that's for a team that went 2-3. And we're still having that praise for Doggo, because even in some of these losses, he was absolutely standout. So the tiebreaker goes over to Beyond Gaming. They advance to that next round, and the Unicorns of Love, at the very least, they saved their whole tournament by getting that upset win against Cloud9.
Right, I don't think this alleviates the questions and the disappointment overall for the year that we talked about with UOL and looking at their MSI performance as well as this Worlds. Yes, some redemption to...
It's a good sentence for them in the history book.
Sure, but I think that again, if you are of the hope of a U of L to turn into a Detonation Focus Me and the run that they're able to challenge and put together during this play-ins, something needs to change.
Something needs to change a lot for them as they exit Beyond on to the next round. Then we get to the main course, which we didn't even know would exist before the day started. That tiebreaker for first place, DFM versus Cloud9. Winner, you don't need to play a best of. You're right into the main stage of groups. We know people have laughed about this rivalry or talked about it. Cloud9 stomped them in their first matchup on this play-ins, and this one, the main question is how's the mental doing for Cloud9 after what happened against UOL? And for Vulcan specifically on the Amumu, I don't think it was doing too well.
What a fitting pick, my man, because the mental and the performance that he had in this game, it would turn anybody into a sad mummy. The way that it was going around, yikes, my man. We got to talk about this game. Sure, there is a big period of it where it was very close. It was in very
Most
close.
Most of the game was close.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think under the underlying surface of looking at the game and the power and the scaling that was going to be there for Detonation Focus Me really did have the clock on Cloud9 and their performance right out of the gate, and they doubled down on needing to perform in this game, and they say, okay, we've been watching Damwon, we've been watching FPX, we see the best teams in the world able to pull off Jace and Zoe in the solo lanes, hitting every single skill shot. The team has no break from your damage. Well, there was a ton of breaks from damage from Cloud9 because none of those skill shots are hitting from Fudge or even our man Perks in the mid lane.
Yeah, and even before these skill shots aren't necessarily hitting, you had the early game, or the mid game at the very least, go exactly how Cloud9 wanted. Blabber was snowballing on one of his most patented picks, that early game Olaf that he's 12-2 on coming into this one, and you get such early dragons. You could have had Infernal Soul at 22 minutes, and this is the game-changing moment of the game for me, is right around that Infernal Soul. It's about to spawn. Cloud9 has the perfect positioning and warding all around the dragon, and then for some godforsaken reason, Vulcan and the boys say, let's just force a fight mid lane when we have the poke comp. We have the control. They have to contest this dragon. Cloud9 decides to go all in and basically lose the game right there.
Yeah, and it's extremely frustrating on the sidelines because you look at that call from that position, as you said, being a poke comp position, stacking the dragons. Yes, it's close, but you are the one with that advantage, and the advantage in key moments and key fighting positions. And then to just throw it all away for nothing. Literally no advantage, no decision making, just simply an aggressive or, hot on the trigger type of let's go. And you look at this Cloud9 roster, there is no shortage of players that have played in big moments, intense moments. This is not something that you can look at and go, oh, you know what? First time, he's pulling the trigger a little bit too happy, whatever. These guys have been in finals. They've been through playoffs, lower bracket, upper bracket. It doesn't matter. International events. This, to me, the decision making and the inability to execute on your skills in this incredibly crucial game is inexcusable from Cloud9.
And we have the term Lee syndrome. We need sad mummy syndrome or something for going in on these forced engages on a Mumu. And I know everyone's going to be incredibly harsh on Cloud9 because they looked so good 3-0. Then you go 0-2 on the days that it matters. That is just the absolute embodiment of NA at Worlds. Now, they're not going to the main stage yet. They're playing the winner. I feel like they're still going to get through to Worlds, and this won't really have huge implications other than people will be mad at them.
Yeah, that is the thing that you're left, unfortunately, to sit with as a North American fan, because you have to deal with and stew with this frustration, this anger and emotions towards it, yet still acknowledge the good that happened the 2 days prior that Cloud9 had built towards, and then what they can do moving forward, but still obviously keeping this in the back of your mind. We talked about it yesterday, that everybody, as Perks mentioned, seems to forget that Cloud9 is good enough to beat RNGs, Damwons, Mad Lions, but they're remembering that they lose to Pentanets, they lose to the Unicorns of Love, they lose to Detonation Focus Me, and we told people to focus more on RNG yesterday the way things went. Absolutely can't be telling you that now.
And we can critique Cloud9 all you want. Let's give full credit to DFM. What a great day 3 for them. The first ever LJL team to make it to the main stage at Worlds. Of course, it's fitting. It's these guys a lot. The core has been together for such a long time. I'm really excited to see them on the main stage. They're probably going to be going into Group B alongside T1, EDG, and 100 Thieves. And I think they can legitimately take a game off someone. Maybe more.
Hey, if they're able to do this to Cloud9, they're able to play this way, keep that composure, absolutely. I could see them finding a way to push any other level team in the group stage to this level. And as you said, yes, there is frustration, disappointment on the Cloud9 side, but it is absolutely met equally with the celebration and praise that is deserved for DFM to get this, to get the achievement for the LJL to finally make it into the group stage at a world champion event. You please go look up the Japanese cast and hear how excited the hype and everything about it. That's what this is about. A world event like this and the play-ins and the growth that these region teams can make. This is it.
So the group stage now behind us for the play-in stage. We're onwards to the knockout rounds, and there was the whole meme about Cloud9. I think Sven tweeted it that we should lose the tiebreaker, lose to UOL, lose the tiebreaker to play Hanwha. But guys, That's not how the bracket works. You had to finish third if you wanted to have a chance at playing Hanwha Life, which they of course ended up finishing second. So the first round we're gonna have Red Canids versus Peace. The winner of that will be playing Cloud9. Galatasaray Esports and Beyond Gaming. The winner of that will play Hanwha. I gotta feel like Beyond Gaming are favorites over GS.
Yeah, I think the way that things have shaken out the last day and a half, you have to be looking that way. But absolutely, I think with both of these ones, you should be looking for a full series. You should be looking at some back and forth between these two teams to see who is going to be continuing their world's dream.
Yeah, the Peace and Red Canids one is definitely a closer series. The problem is, I don't think it matters who wins Cloud9. That should be the statement for them. It should be a 3-0, either one of those squads, for them to be like, okay, guys, we dropped the ball on day 3. We are still a pretty good team, and we could maybe pick up a win if we do end up getting slotted into Group A. Maybe one win.
At the very least, we don't have to worry about expectations.
That's true. Maybe that's why they did it. They just kill the expectations before these hopped up NA fans are like, maybe they can get out of Group A.
It's a hell of a painful way to do it, an embarrassing way to do it. But you know what? Stranger things have happened. Sure.
Embarrassing and NA go hands in hand when it comes to international
You better
events.
believe it.
So the squads that are immediately bumped through, we kind of alluded to it. LNG, obviously 4-0. Every question answered out of them. They are guaranteed Group D. They're already slotted in because there's 3 LPL teams in the other group. So we have Group D finished. Gen G, LNG, Mad Lions, and Team Liquid. LNG could get out of that group. Anyone could get out of this group.
Absolutely. Hey, look, Group D might not bring the type of pedigree and premier hype that a Group A can bring, in the sense of really carried by the heavyweights in Damwon and FPX. But you look at Group D and you're talking about Gen G. You're looking at all these teams, LNG, Mad Lions. Man, this is going to be one heck of a group. Everybody has their way, their strengths, their weaknesses, that they can make arguments for taking games off of each other and finding that secret path, that all special path to the right amount of wins to get on through the group stage.
And assuming, Cloud9 and Hanwha both get through, that means DFM is going to have to be slotting in to Group B, as I kind of alluded to. And again, they're 100 Thieves. I mean, we already saw them beat Cloud9. DFM could take a game off 100 Thieves. EDG at an international event. Maybe DFM could steal one there.
You know what? I'm looking at the matchup between them and T1. I'm excited about thinking about the type of experience that someone like Kana can gain from playing against Heavy, and what he's been able to do for a DFM.
Get murdered by an Urgot? Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. This is an exciting wrinkle that I was not expecting for this year's Worlds, and very happy to welcome in Detonation Focus me towards the group stage excitement.
And last year we had the Unicorns kind of coming in with hopes that they could maybe make some noise in the group stage. I got higher hopes for this DFM than I did for that UOL.
Absolutely, and especially with the way that they have kind of progressed throughout these mini 2-3 days of the play-in tournament so far, from what we saw in their first match against Cloud9 to what they looked like in the last match against Cloud9. Very big difference in the way that they have grown as a team at this event, and just simply the confidence that you can see in every single decision and action made on the Rift from these guys. Very big difference, and one that will pay dividends if they can keep it going during the group stage.
Step 1 behind us, group stage of the play-ins. We're on to step 2, which is the knockouts. But that is it today for Liga Unlock. Eric and Mark here with you guys. Thanks for hanging out, and we will catch you on the Flippity Flip.